You want to know a secret? A man may forget the things you said. He might even forget the way you looked in that dress. But the right gift, the one that hits him emotionally, unexpectedly, and deeply, he will never forget. Not in a year, not in a decade, not in his entire life. We tend to think men are difficult to buy for, like there's some mystery to cracking the gift code. But the truth is, it's not about price tags or grand gestures, it's about connection. The most unforgettable gifts are never found on a shelf. They're created from awareness, intention, and emotional intimacy. If you want to give a man something he'll treasure long after the relationship has changed or even ended, give him something that touches his identity. Something that says, I see the man you are and the man you're becoming. So let's break it down. I'm going to show you 5 powerful gifts you can give a man that will make him feel so seen, so valued, and so emotionally impacted that no matter where life takes him, he'll remember you, always. Let's start with something deceptively simple, something people overlook because it feels too ordinary. A handwritten letter. But don't be fooled. In a world obsessed with instant messaging and short-term attention, a heartfelt, intentional letter is a rare treasure. And for a man who may never have been seen beneath the surface, it can be utterly unforgettable. This isn't just about putting pen to paper. It's about slowing down time, stepping into intimacy, and giving him something almost no one else has: emotional recognition. Men, whether they show it or not, carry silent pressure to be strong, dependable, controlled. Most of them walk through the world giving more than they ever receive. They don't get words of affirmation as often as women do. They're rarely told what's good about them beyond surface level compliments. That's why when a woman hands him a letter, one written not just from her heart, but to his core, it pierces through all that armor. It's a gift that says, I see the man behind the mask, and I like what I see. This letter shouldn't just be a generic love note. No cliches, no recycled lines. What makes it unforgettable is the specificity. You write about him. What you admire about the way he handles pressure, the way he shows up for his friends, how his mind works, what makes you feel safe when you're around him. What little quirks make you smile, like the way he tries to act tough but softens the second you touch his arm, or the way he gets excited when he talks about something he loves. That kind of detail tells him you're paying attention, not just to how he makes you feel, but to who he is. And then go deeper. Write about what he's brought into your life, the part of you he's awakened, the confidence, the calm, the excitement, the laughter. Tell him how his presence has changed your experience of the world. This is not about flattery. It's about impact. That's what every man wants to feel in a relationship, that he matters, that he's left a mark. Here's the magic. This letter becomes timeless. He'll read it when he's feeling low. He'll reread it in moments of doubt. He may even tuck it away in a drawer or between the pages of a book. But he'll never throw it away, because this letter didn't just make him feel loved. It made him feel known. And that kind of emotional intimacy, that kind of honesty, it lingers longer than any physical gift ever could. If you want to give a man something that he'll never forget, don't rush out to the store. Sit down, take your time, write him a letter that only you could write. One that touches his soul, that reflects his worth, and that reminds him of exactly how deeply he was seen. Because that, more than any box, gadget, or designer label, is the kind of gift that makes a woman unforgettable. If you want a man to remember you forever, don't just give him something nice. Give him something that speaks to what drives him. One of the most powerful gifts you can offer a man is an object or tool that aligns with his passion, because passion is personal. It's not about what's practical, it's about what lights him up inside. The moment you give a man something that supports the thing he loves doing most, you instantly separate yourself from every woman who never looked past surface level connection. Think about it. Most men have something they quietly obsess over, something they could talk about for hours if someone just asked the right question. It might be his guitar, his motorcycle, his camera, his running gear, his woodworking tools, his favorite video game setup, or even his podcast mic. And here's where you come in, not as someone who pretends to love the thing just to impress him, but as someone who pays attention. You notice what makes his eyes light up. You listen to what he casually mentions in passing. You observe what he turns to when he's trying to recharge. Then instead of guessing at a gift, you honor that passion. Maybe it's a better tool for his craft, a limited edition part for his setup, a personalized item that makes him feel like a pro. Or maybe it's just something simple like a sketchbook, a rare book about his niche interest, or even a new piece of gear that helps him level up. It's not about how much it costs, it's about what it represents. It says, I see what matters to you. I support what you love, and I believe in what you're building. Most women give gifts that reflect who they are, but the woman who gives a gift that reflects him, she becomes unforgettable. Because in that moment, she's not just showing affection, she's showing understanding. And that cuts deeper than any romantic line or compliment ever could. A man will never forget the woman who fed, the part of him that no one else noticed. And here's the best part. That object you give him, it becomes part of his process. It becomes integrated into the thing that brings him joy. And every time he uses it, whether it's months or years from now, he'll think of you. Not just because you gave him something useful, but because you reminded him of who he is when he's most alive. That's the real gift, not the tool itself, but the way you say, without needing to say it at all, I respect what fuels you, and I want to be a part of your evolution. That's not just memorable, that's rare. That's high value love. And trust me, he'll never forget the woman who gave it to him. Sometimes the most unforgettable gift you can give a man isn't something he can unwrap, it's something he can feel. It's not an object that sits on a shelf. It's a memory that gets tattooed into his heart. And if you really want to give a man something that makes you unforgettable, give him an experience that brings his inner boy back to life. Because no matter how old he gets, no matter how tough or mature he seems, every man has that little boy inside of him, the one who used to dream big, laugh without filters and feel pure, unfiltered joy. The woman who taps into that side of him, she stays with him forever. Think about it. When was the last time someone planned something just for him? Not out of obligation, not because it looked good on Instagram, but because it made his eyes light up like he was 10 years old again. Maybe it's tickets to a game he's always wanted to attend, or a weekend road trip to a place he used to go with his dad. Maybe it's a surprise go-kart race, a VR gaming session, or a day out on the water doing something adventurous and spontaneous. It doesn't have to be expensive. It just has to feel personal. This kind of gift says, I want you to feel alive. I want you to play again. And here's the thing, men rarely get that kind of emotional permission. The world tells them to grow up, be providers, keep it together. But inside they crave freedom. And when you're the woman who reminds him what it feels like to let go, even for just a few hours, you don't just give him fun. You give him liberation. You show him that with you, he can relax into himself. And that experience, it becomes your story, a shared secret, a moment he goes back to when the world gets loud and heavy. When he tells his friends about it, it won't just be about what you did. It'll be about how you made him feel. He'll say, she just got me. She planned the whole thing, and it was exactly what I needed. That is how you become the exception. That's how you go from the woman he dates to the woman he remembers. So the next time you're wondering what to give him, don't just scroll through shopping sites. Think about what would make him laugh so hard his stomach hurts. Think about what would make him lose track of time. Think about the boy he was before life got complicated, and give him the chance to be that boy again. Because no matter how strong or successful a man becomes, he never forgets the woman who gave him joy. Without expectation, freedom without judgment, and adventure without limits. That's not just a gift, that's a legacy. And it's one only you can give. There's a different kind of gift, one most people never think to give, one that doesn't sparkle, doesn't grab attention at first glance, but touches a place in him no one else even tries to reach. It's the gift that helps him heal, that supports his growth. And it's one of the rarest things a man can receive, not because it's expensive or rare in a store, but because so few women see that part of him, and even fewer nurture it. You see, most men walk through the world with invisible wounds, hurts they've never talked about, fears they carry quietly, pressure to perform, to protect, to always have it together. They may not show it, but it's there in the way they tense up, the way they avoid vulnerability, the way they stay distracted instead of sitting with their thoughts. And when a woman sees through the armor and says, I don't just want to have fun with you, I want to support you, something shifts. You become different. You become unforgettable. That support doesn't always have to be a deep therapy session. Sometimes it's a journal with a handwritten message inside the cover that says, your thoughts deserve space. Sometimes it's a book you read that made you think of his journey, a meditation app you know could ease his anxiety, a playlist of songs that help him sleep, or even just a note with a quote that says you're allowed to slow down, you're allowed to feel. When you give a man something that nurtures the man he's becoming, you show him you're not just here for the highlight reel, you're here for the process. And that's rare. That's the woman he doesn't just remember, he respects. Because growth is personal, healing is intimate. And when you invest in his evolution, you become part of something far deeper than attraction or romance. You become part of his transformation. Most people don't realize how few men are ever truly seen. They're admired for their strength, praised for their success, wanted for their confidence. But rarely are they told, I see where you're hurting. And I'm not scared of it. You don't need to fix him. You don't need to coach him. You just need to believe in the parts of him that are becoming. That belief, wrapped inside a thoughtful gift, stays with him forever. Because it isn't just a gesture, it's a mirror showing him his potential. So if you want to give a man something unforgettable, don't just give him something for who he is right now. Give him something that honors who he's becoming. Support the climb. Ease the burden, reflect his strength, and gently guide his softness. That gift might not get 100 likes on Instagram, but it will stay in his soul long after birthdays and holidays pass. Because men forget what you say, they forget what you wear, but they never forget the woman who helped him grow. Sometimes the most unforgettable gift you can give a man isn't flashy or luxurious. It's personal, deeply, specifically personal. It's a gift that holds a shared moment inside it, one that the moment he looks at it, takes him back. Back to the laugh you shared on a rainy day, the silence that felt sacred in the car at 2 a.m., or the night you danced like idiots in the kitchen. When a woman gives a man a physical symbol of a memory you both lived and felt, it becomes more than a gift. It becomes a time capsule, a living moment, a place he can revisit whenever he needs to remember what real connection feels like. It could be something as simple as a framed photo, but not just any photo, one where he's laughing in a way you didn't even know you noticed, one where the two of you are completely yourselves, unfiltered and unguarded. Or maybe it's a map with a pin in the place you took your first trip together, or a custom keychain engraved with a phrase only you two understand. It could be a playlist burned onto a USB stick labeled "The Week We Fell for Each Other," a small bottle of sand from the beach where he first held your hand, the shirt you wore the night he first kissed you, sealed with a little tag that says, "This is how I remember you." These aren't objects, they're anchors. And every time he sees them, holds them, or wears them, it brings him back, not just to the moment, but to how he felt in that moment. And when a man connects a physical object to an emotional truth, it doesn't just make him feel nostalgic, it makes him feel bonded. Because it's not just that you gave him a gift, it's that you gave him proof that what you shared was real. Most women give things a man can eventually replace. But a personalized gift tied to a memory, he can never find that again. Not in a store, not on a website, not with another woman. That gift becomes yours. It becomes you. And long after the relationship shifts, or the seasons change, or life moves forward, you stay with him through the object, through the story it tells. This is the kind of gift that doesn't demand attention. It quietly exists, tucked into a drawer, hanging on his wall, sitting on his desk, waiting for the moment he's overwhelmed or lost in thought, and he glances at it, and there you are. Not just as a memory, but as a moment in time that mattered. Because at the end of the day, we all crave meaning. We all want to feel like the connections we built left a mark. So give him a piece of the moment you shared. Give him a gift that holds him long after you let go. That's the kind of gift a man never forgets. That's how you become unforgettable. The truth is, the most unforgettable gifts aren't the ones that impress. They're the ones that connect. They don't scream for attention, but they echo in a man's mind long after the moment has passed. The handwritten letter that touches his soul, the object that fuels his passion, the experience that lets him play again, the gentle tool that helps him grow, and the personal memento that captures a piece of your shared history. These aren't just presents. They're imprints. They remind him of who he is. And they'll always remind him of you. Because when you give a man something that speaks to his core, you move from being someone he once dated to someone he remembers for the rest of his life. Not because you tried too hard, not because you bought the most expensive thing, but because you saw him. You met him in a place no one else ever bothered to go. And that's the power you hold, not just as a gift giver, but as a woman of emotional depth. A woman who doesn't just give things, she gives meaning. So, if you've ever wondered, how do I leave a mark on a man's heart? This is how. Give differently. Give from the soul. And never underestimate the impact of being the one who understands him in ways no one else ever did. If this message moves you or sparked an idea, I want to hear from you. Leave a comment below. What gift have you given that made someone emotional? Or what idea are you excited to try next? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you want more content that dives deep into high value attraction and connection, and share it with that one friend who always says, men are hard to shop for. She'll thank you later. And remember, the right gift, given from the heart, doesn't just win his attention, it earns his memory. Until next time, keep loving boldly, giving intentionally, and never forget the magic of being a woman who sees straight into a man's soul.